Think of integrity, I often picture some old guy like my grandpa saying, if you want to be a person who has character, you got to have integrity. And never really knowing what that means, just like someone who has things figured out and is always doing exactly what they say. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone who always does exactly what they say. However, how do we go through life having integrity? What's the point of having integrity? What does that have to do with relationships? What does that have to do with our quality of life? This is what Roy, Coach Roy, and myself are going to be talking about on this live. He's going to be joining us in a few moments. I'm excited to have this conversation because this is really about having a life that works, having relationships that work, that aren't full of drama and exhaustion and trying to figure everything out and feeling like you're never enough. So Roy, now you can bring some new integrity with ease in your life and have that transform into relationships that you love. So Roy should be joining in a second. Hello, Coach Roy.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
Wherever
Good
you
evening.
are in the world. It's all, what time is it where you are?
It's 6:45 a.m.
6:45 a.m. for you, 3:45 p.m. for me. Here we are.
Here we are.
So integrity. Integrity at the level of oneself is the way you worded it before we started this call. Now, just brief introduction, because a lot of people are starting to know who you are. Some people still don't. Fools, but I understand. Coach Roy is one of the members of my coaching team. He is one of the first people to coach me personally and inspired me into this world of coaching from how he did it with his incredible keen ear and his ability to coach effortlessly. What I mean by that is what Roy is incredible at is with people like myself who hate being told what to do, who want to figure everything out themselves and think we know everything. That can be my default state. It can be difficult to hear other people's perspective. But Roy has this incredible ability that leaves you wanting to hear his perspective and leaves you open to what he has to share. And so Roy leads my Love or Fear program for people who want to participate in it one-on-one. You'll have a chance to sign up for that or learn more details in the comments section where I'll add some captions, but you can sign up to work with Roy and experience the program. And this is an opportunity to hear more about what we're about and how we think and why this stuff matters.
Awesome. Thank you, Simon.
You're welcome. So why does integrity at the level of oneself matter to you? Why did you want to have this conversation today?
Well, thank you for that. And so let's first of all define the word, and as it's defined, how we go by the definition. And integrity defined is the state or condition of being whole, complete, perfect, sound, unimpaired, unbroken. So that in itself, let's apply that to what it is to be a human being. And then so first of all, let's start with we're always in a state of perfection as humans. This whole notion that people are broken is not true. What is true is we are in a state or condition. It doesn't matter what's happened before around what we've done in our life, what's all the things we participated in, whether good, bad, it's in the past. So when we stand in the moment and we be in the moment and we be in a state or condition of being whole, complete, perfect. So that's my first premise, so that we don't end up as humans in this world of I'm wrong, they're wrong, I shouldn't have done that, they shouldn't have done that to me. Ultimately, we're not a victim of anything because we're in a state or condition of being whole, complete, perfect, sound, unbroken, unimpaired. Now, we may have some challenges inside of what we're dealing with. However, when we go from the state or condition of being whole, complete, sound, unimpaired, unbroken, what's required to operate at that level?
Well, first off,
Now,
sorry, go ahead, keep on.
the other part of integrity it's not moral, it's not ethical, it's a state or condition. So when we take morality out of it, that there is nothing wrong. There's only ever what so. So I'll just stop there
Yeah,
for a second.
because there's that we could go into that because a lot of people are going to be hearing that going, it's not moral. Well, being moral is important. Shouldn't I be moral? What are you saying? Don't be moral. So there's lots of different ways that could be interpreted. So
Yeah.
first off, when you share the definition of integrity, being perfect, whole, complete, what I hear in that is it's like at peace. That feeling that we have when we're at peace, like there's nothing to change, there's nothing to fix. Even if there's still chaos going on in our life, I feel whole and complete. I feel at ease about what's going on. And that to me is really what training is about in coaching, to be able to coach people to be that state regardless of the circumstances in their life, because that first needs to happen before we can alter the circumstances in our life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually taking us back, unlearning this stuff, taking us back to who we really are before we can actually make those transformational changes in our life. Now, what you shared, I think what I heard in that is it's typical or easy to go into I'm bad and wrong, or they're bad and wrong, or something's incomplete, or I should have done that thing, or they should have done that thing. And whenever we're in that state, it's not at ease. It's stressful. It's frustrating. It's actually affecting us at a cellular level, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and it really, in that state of morality or ethics and judgment and assessment, all we're doing is creating neural pathways that are more of the same. It's
Right.
keeping us in that state of morality. They shouldn't have done that. The judgment, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my God, I'm bad and wrong for what I did. Or they're bad and wrong for what they did. Keeps us very, very small and keeps us down into the neural pathways that keep us in the judgment.
And what's the cost of that? What's the downside of doing that, of being moral about all this stuff? And they did it wrong or I did it wrong. What's the problem with that?
Oh, great question. The issue with that is that now we're playing very small and we're not being authentic in who we really are. We're now in a state of judgment versus a state or condition of being whole, complete, perfect, sound, unbroken, unimpaired. We're actually imposing or sentencing ourselves to being inauthentic. Is that not who we really are?
So can you be authentic and be judgmental at the same time?
No, no. They don't live in the same realm. It's oil and vinegar. Now there's aspects of integrity that I want to get into here more and expand on this. So we now know that we've got the definition of integrity, and it takes some actions to actually have it happen and to operate in that state. So the first part of this is doing what you said to do, know to do, and doing it on time.
Doing what you said to do, what you know to do, and doing it on time.
And here's the next part, and the way it's meant to be done.
And the way it's meant to be done. So what would be an example of that in relationships?
Okay, in relationships, it's that your partner is a bit late for work and scrambling around. So what to do is make her a coffee or make him a coffee. Just walk over 5 feet and pour a coffee. Make it the way we know that they appreciate it, and put it on the counter.
Or pulling up the car so it's ready, or just
Pulling up the car.
Way. Yeah.
Or, sweetheart, you've slept. The alarm's going off. A gentle nudge. So as opposed to, oh, there they go again. Not ready.
Right. The judge
scrambling around.
Yeah. You're never ready. You're never on time. You're holding me up. Yeah. The judgment, the blame. Yeah. We all can relate to that.
Judgment, the blame. So reach over, pour the coffee so that they come around the corner and go, wow, isn't that kind? Isn't that a cool thing? alter the brain pattern, which is the next part of integrity, which is doing things the way they are meant to be done. And if you're not going to, say you're not going to.
Okay.
Actually declare, I'm not going to ever make you a coffee in the morning. I've got my own stuff to do and I'm gone for work by the time you get up. So I'm not going to do that for you. And here's the next part of integrity, which most people have a hard time with this part. Doing what is meant to be done, even though you didn't say you were going to do it.
Okay.
So that's one where what is required if we are actually in relationship and we're going to do something, even though we didn't say we would do it. This is where the coffee comes in.
Okay.
What do you think is required there?
Well, I think a ton of awareness is required.
Yeah. And awareness. Well, said another way, ferreting out expectations.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the things we see so much in the people we work with and in our own lives is
Mm-hmm.
how much the source of our own upsets is to do with our expectations of what we think someone else should do or shouldn't do.
Exactly. So knowing that, our job is to ferret out those expectations that someone has of us.
Uh-huh.
Because we all know our partners are and people who are in relationship, they have them, and we all have unset expectations of each other.
Well,
So,
let's give some examples of that because I think we'll see if we can bring it on the court for people. So
oh,
some
yeah.
examples that are popping into my head of expectations we might have in relationships are when we have sex, I expect you to sleep over.
Oh,
Now,
that's a good one.
most people don't say that. Instead, they have sex and then maybe one person leaves and then they assume that means that person is terrible or we're never going to be a fit or whatever assumption comes with that, rather than communicating what works for them. Another example might be, I expect you to text me within an hour of me texting you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, have you shared that with the individual involved? Do we know what the other individual's up to in their schedule? Do they even like texting? I had a conversation with one of our clients today about this, who was frustrated about this person that she's seeing who likes to text often, likes to check in and see what's going on. She doesn't like to text. She likes to get on the phone. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
see this so much with people who just assume that because I do things this way, that they should do this thing this way. And I told her, this texting example is so perfect because this is what relationships are. You guys are going to have this about where you send your kids to school, where you like to go on vacation, what you should wear to a fancy dinner. These are all things that we have assumptions about, but we don't communicate. We kind of wait and see, and then we go, I'm going to judge what happens based off of what I wait and see, rather than the vulnerable thing, which goes, I really love it when you give me a call. And to be honest, these texts, I'm so tired of them. It has nothing to do with you. It's just my own energy. Scary to say
Wow,
that.
it is. And imagine if the whole world actually spoke with each other that way. If we
Now,
actually went,
go ahead.
imagine that if we all went around actually ferreting out expectations that others have of us.
Life works. That's when life
Life
works.
works.
Now, someone said something right here. They said, but so much thinking and rules. And I completely disagree with you, my friend. There actually isn't that much thinking. The thinking and rules come from all our assumptions, not
Mm-hmm.
the communication. That part's easy. The exhaustion comes from the overthinking about what we think everything means versus actually being curious. Oh, how do you like to text? Oh, when I come over, do you prefer if I bring something? Does it bother you if I don't bring something? Do you like to sleep over? Do you want me to
Yeah.
plan trips? Do you prefer planning trips? We'll give you a great example. My wife is so good at planning any trips that we go on, and I'm horrible at it. So she plans the trips, and I organize the things, and it works brilliantly. It's so easy. But that had to be communicated. It wasn't like this obvious thing that we both knew as soon as we met each other. We
Mm-hmm.
had to ferret out these things, as you say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and another example is you go into someone's house, like an expectation is ferreting out an expectation. You stay over at someone's house and it's immaculate. And so, do you clean the shower after it? Do you make sure the water's all wiped up? How many relationships have ended because they got one bathroom and one's messy and one's not messy?
I got another
So,
client right now who's got such a similar example where they let someone stay at their house, and then that person used a bunch of their coffee, their refusable, those cup things that go there.
yeah,
And then she came back, she went to the house, she was getting ready to pour herself a cup of coffee, and there was no coffee left. And it's kind of out of the way, so she couldn't like quickly go get some. Now it's not about coffee. It's
yeah,
about this
exactly.
thoughtfulness. It's about the care and attention of each other.
Yes. When that character, all they had to do was look in the cupboard and see their Keurigs and go, "Oh, I'm going to drink your coffee. Do you expect me to bring you some more next time? Are you close by it?" Like, imagine what that would be like for someone's actually asking you if they want you to replace the coffee that you're drinking.
I mean,
Wow.
that to me would land like, that sounds great. By the way, stay at my place anytime.
Yeah. Come on over and bring your Keurig with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the question that was asked, I want to move into the next part of this, which
Yeah.
is integrity at the level of oneself.
Yeah. What does that mean?
What that means is I then become used by the distinction operating with integrity. So it's not a bunch of rules that I've got to follow
Yeah.
to be a person of integrity.
Yes.
When I start to operate this way, I get used by it. It becomes natural. It becomes a new way of operating in the world. Yes, it's somewhat challenging in the beginning.
Yeah.
Unless I'm committed to it. Unless I'm committed to it at the level of myself, my soul, my purpose in life is to operate as a man of integrity.
Yeah.
Be known as a man of integrity. Know myself as a man of integrity. Or, as the definition of integrity goes, don't operate that way. Actually say, I'm not going to be a person of integrity. I'm going to show up when I want. I'm going to make the bathroom messy. I'm going to drink all your coffee. Actually tell someone that you're going to be an inconsiderate person. Tell them straight up.
Well, this is where
Actually share that.
Yeah, and this is where I think the next, like you're saying, the next part of this is how do we define our own integrity? And I think how we define it depends on what we're committed to, what matters to us.
Yes.
So if I'm committed to being single, then it probably would have integrity for me to ghost people, for me to not call people back, for me to ignore texts. But if I'm committed to creating a family, then it wouldn't have integrity for me to badmouth other people who have families that I admire, or to not engage with someone that I think could be a potential partner.
Yes.
It has integrity for me to go up to that person, and every time I don't, I was talking to another person about this the other day. If I want a long-term relationship and I'm single right now, and I let opportunities pass me by, meaning I could go meet someone, I could say hello to someone I might find attractive. Every time I don't do that, it lacks integrity for me. That's why we get this like sick feeling in ourselves. It's like, oh, I let myself down. I didn't have integrity at the level of myself. That's why I feel bad. If it didn't matter to me to have a long-term relationship, I wouldn't have that feeling. But since I do have that feeling, it's like, oh, that so was me stepping over my own integrity in that situation. I wanted to do something about that, but I got scared. And then the double down challenge or crappy part about this is instead of owning that and going, oh, I wanted to, but I got scared. What we like to do as human beings is we like to go, oh no, I didn't say hi because that person was wearing something that is stupid, or because I saw them saying something weird to their friend, or because men are all like this, or women are all like that, or it's so hard to meet people in my city that has 500,000 people. It's like, that's where we really kind of dig our own hole, because now we're fighting for our limitations. We're actually arguing to prove how limited we are, thus creating
Yep.
our limitations.
And now we're engaging in neural pathways that do nothing more than promote the judgment, the assessment,
Right,
the opinion, the points of
right,
view. Well,
right.
and I want to add one thing to what you just created here, because integrity, to operate with integrity, is as critical as what you're dealing with matters.
What does that mean?
So what that means, if you've got a full on life and you've got a lot going on and you're out to create a family, or you're out to create a loving partnership that is just amazing and beyond what you ever imagined, it's going to take operating with integrity because it matters to you.
Yeah,
It's going to take a high degree of integrity.
yeah, yeah,
There's various states of integrity. There's a low operating state of integrity. There's a medium integrity. There's a high state of integrity, and there's a radical state of
yeah,
integrity.
yeah. Can I give a personal example of this?
Yeah, please,
So
please.
my wife and I really believe that having a family doesn't have to limit you, that you can be a family that travels, that
Hmm.
adventure can continue and even expand. Many people think, oh, I need to settle down when I have a family, I need to slow down. My wife and I believe the opposite. We've traveled more with a baby than we did without one. And right now, I'm planning to go to the Olympics tomorrow. I'm going to go watch, I'm going to experience a dream of mine, which is to go watch Team USA play basketball. Now, I'm
Whoa.
Canadian. It's not about Americans and whatnot, but it's about watching the best basketball players in the world and possibly history live, which I've never done before. And I'm so excited. And I have a baby and a wife. Now, my wife can't come with me, unfortunately, because of the Russian situation in the world. And if you're someone like my wife who has a Russian passport, you're not favorited to be given visas to. And so my wife said, you go enjoy this thing and we'll figure it out. And so we've managed, okay, I'm going to be there for 4 days. We've managed hotels and whatnot and travel. And we've managed how she's going to be okay taking care of our son without me being here, because we're very team based in how we take care of our son. So she's going to have to pick up a lot of slack while I'm not here. She also has family here, so we're managing these things. Now, it wouldn't have integrity for me to go, oh, this amazing thing that is a dream of mine, I should just not do because I have a family.
Mm.
That would be so, it would make me sick to go like cancel that kind of opportunity. So instead, we looked at it together and we're like, yeah, we don't know how to do this. This is going to take some serious creativity. You know,
Hmm.
what's a long enough time? What works? What's a reasonable investment to do this? What's like, it took conversations. But so easily we go, that's too hard, don't do it. Versus, it's amazing and I don't know how to do it. Let's talk it through and see what we can create.
Beautiful. I love, because that's an example of integrity is as critical as what you're dealing with matters.
And this matters so much. Like us having
Yeah.
tons of attention as a family with each other and getting to
Yep.
pursue the things that we care about as a group and individually. Like my wife couldn't care less about going to watch basketball.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like
Yeah.
beyond excited. Like I am a massive LeBron James fan. The game of like
Wow.
a lot of people listening might not even care, but the game of basketball is better than it's ever been across the globe. I was a basketball player at a high level, so this is like amazing to me, right? It's not to her.
Yeah.
Now, some people would
Yeah.
go, "Oh, well, you guys need to go together because you're supposed to be together." And
Yeah. Right.
for us, that doesn't have integrity. Now she's forcing herself to like something that she doesn't like, spend money where she doesn't want to spend it, and
Mm.
instead we're going, "Okay, what would?" To my wife, what would your version of this trip for me be for you?
Mm.
Now we're getting
Well,
to have, go ahead.
I can hear all of the in the distinction integrity. I can hear the ferreting out all the expectations. I can hear what it took, the conversation it took for you to get there. It's ferreting out the expectations you have of your wife and baby. And I mean, I'll bet you'll even say to them now, you be a good boy for your mom.
Yeah, of course. Of
Come on,
course. You
I
better
expect you
behave.
to not cry or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
of
is.
course.
Yeah. And then same with her. She'll be ferreting out the expectations you have of her and your trip. Like that's what makes the whole thing so beautiful. The planning, the joy it takes to actually get there.
And
Imagine sitting in the stadium if your wife PO'd at you because you just
yeah,
buggered off and left her with the
that
baby.
wouldn't have integrity. That would feel terrible
No.
instead of feeling great about the trip. I even asked her today. So we were sitting next to each other while our son was sleeping, and I said, "Are you a little jealous?" And she was like, "No, I'm really excited for you.
Yeah.
You're going to go on this trip. I'm going to get to go on a trip, and we'll work it out. And it took conversation. It doesn't have to be hard, you guys. The hard part is actually giving up our assumptions
Hmm.
about how we're pretending that it's extremely difficult or impossible. That's the hard
Yeah.
part. Because if we actually own and go, nothing's impossible. I just don't know how to do it.
Mm.
That takes courage. What doesn't take any courage at all is going, that's impossible, can't be done, not even going to try.
And then make your partner wrong in the relationship
Right.
because they didn't support you to
Now I'm
actually fulfill on what matters to you.
now I'm resentful that I'm in a marriage, and wouldn't single
Hmm.
life be so great, and all this. It's just bullshit. It's totally made up
Yeah.
because it's like a domino that we didn't catch early, and we let the
Mm.
dominoes continue to fall rather than getting communication.
Well, and I love that word that you just said, communication, because integrity it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists by speaking what matters to us. It exists by sharing with others what we're up to in life, by operating authentically, by really being true to what it is what matters to us, and then what steps are required. And I love your example of the Olympics. I lived in Vancouver during the 2010 Winter Olympics. It was amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal, and it really mattered to me. I participated in as much as I could during that time, and it's something I'll never get over because I love the Olympics and what it represents. So that all comes from communicating, actually saying what matters, and then working it out to fulfill on that, and also ferreting out with other people around you. Well, what matters to you? Actually having the level of personal integrity to say to someone else what matters to you. And
Yeah,
the Olympics
this
is a great example.
yeah this is what I appreciate. This is what I really like. How you text, how you call, what trips you go on, how you like to be touched, you name it. Inviting that opportunity for your needs to be met. And then also, what do you like? And I think it's easy for us to skip one of those. It's easy for us to go, and I see this a lot online. It's like, these are my needs. You got to meet my needs. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, so we're all at your service. Is that how your life goes? That's not going to work. And it's also not going to be fulfilling, by the way. Versus, yeah, you have your needs. You got your needs. Great. Let's see what they
Mhm.
are. What are my needs? And what are we willing to agree to? What actually am I willing to say yes to? Because you might have a bunch of needs, and I might go, yeah, I ain't doing that.
Which has integrity, by the way, to say, ferret out those needs or requirements or wants or desires,
Yeah,
and then actually say with integrity, oh, by the way, that particular thing that expectation that you have, I am unwilling to fulfill that.
yeah, that has integrity, and that's such a powerful thing because when we do declare what we're not willing to do to the people involved, now they know what to expect.
Hmm.
That's now we're operating on the same. Now we're operating on the same page. Now we're actually operating with trust.
Well, and I see all this ties into when we are people of integrity at the level of ourself, how we operate, what we're putting out into the quantum field or what we're demonstrating to the universe, then attracts like-minded people,
Oh yeah.
which is huge in relationship to be a person of integrity. And I really love this aspect, and I've taken this on in my life, and I know you have as well, Simon, because the peace of mind that I actually have for myself, how I sleep at night, how I move through the world with peace and ease and grace, is because I know myself as a man of integrity. And if I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. I'll actually say, I'm not going to do that thing versus just step over it and ignore it.
And that's where you have to like look for yourself. Does this matter to you? You know, you want to go to bed and have your head hit the pillow and fall asleep quickly. You like that feeling. And part of contributing to that feeling is having a life of integrity. So for those of you listening, I think this is what I want people to take away from this is, you know, if your life's not working in whatever area, or you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or whatever it is your challenge right now, the best place to look to start making a difference is where you're out of integrity right now. What are you
Yeah.
saying yes to that you want to say no to? And what are you not doing that you know there is to do? You actually know this is the thing and you're avoiding it for whatever reason. You chip away at that bit by bit. And before you know it, things are going to start to feel really good. And like what Roy said, I believe you're actually sending a message out there to the quantum field, to the universe, whatever you want to look at it, that you're actually available for something new. You start to actually attract in a new level of experience for yourself, not with effort, but with how you're transforming how you live and what you're participating in bit by bit.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful way of operating in the world.
Yeah, and here's the other part of compassion. Anyone who's up to something big is out of integrity somewhere.
Well, yeah, the bigger the game you're playing, the more breakdowns, the more lacks of integrity that are going to show up. Which I love this part because it isn't wrong that there's lacks of integrity.
It's part of playing a big game.
It's part of playing a big game. Relationships in this day and age are a big game.
Huge.
Taking on a career, travel, buying a home in the world these days, all of that. The bigger the game you're playing, the more breakdowns or the more lacks of integrity are going to show up.
Yeah.
And that's the good news, not the bad news. That's the good news because there's integrity is always going out. When we look at the condition of something, the state or condition, say a mountain is being eroded away. The integrity of that mountain from the weather, the rain, the snow, the wind is always being eroded away. So integrity is never in.
Yeah.
It might be in for a nanosecond. Integrity is always going out, which is the keys to the kingdom. Because when we know that integrity is always going out, well, then we start ferreting out where it's going out and what actions we need to do to put it in, to put integrity in.
It's the best game to play. It's a lifetime game.
It's a lifetime game. Where is it going out? I know a person who operates in the world who's at a very, very high radical level. And I said to him one time in a meeting I was having with him, well, you have integrity, don't you? And he goes, yeah, I did once about 15 years ago for 5 minutes. And I said, what? What do you mean by that? I went on a hunt after that to discover what he meant. He goes, it's always going out. And the moment you think integrity's in, you're screwed.
That's when you've lost. That's when you're not looking anymore.
You're not looking. The game is to look where it's going out, not where it's in. Look where it's going out, and you'll always have power in whatever you're dealing with. Wow, man, I never got over that. Never got over that. So to look where it's out so that I have the option to put it in to operate as a man of integrity. Wow. Holy shit.
I mean, I
That's
love,
what we call radical integrity.
yeah, I mean, it also, to me, I think the degree that you take that on correlates to the degree of your quality of life,
Hmm.
the level of fulfillment you get to experience. You know, so if we're not taking it all on at all, we feel useless, we feel inept, we feel weak, we feel small. And even as we start, this is what's really cool. As you start to take on putting in integrity wherever it's out, you get a feeling of empowerment, even though nothing's actually changed. You actually haven't like created anything yet, but because you're working on it, you feel empowered. It's like as soon as you start to call, someone that you've been missing, and rather than still missing them, you pick up the phone, you give them a call. Even if they didn't answer the phone, you feel great about picking that call up, about actually making the phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're in action about what matters to you. Same as when we go to the gym and we're like, I haven't lost the weight, but I went to the gym and I feel pretty good. I look exactly the same as I did 1 hour ago before this class started, but I'm starting to feel a whole new kind of fulfillment and purpose and intentionality. And then when we take it on that way, I mean, that's the job of us as coaches is to support you in taking on your integrity and to show you new ways to do it that doesn't have to be so hard.
Well, and I love that you just said that because that's been on my mind in this conversation because integrity is not significant. When we operate with integrity at the level of ourself, we become used by it. It isn't significant. It's not dramatic. I did what I did. I didn't do what I didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, if my integrity is lacking or out, then all there is to put it in and clean it up with the people where there was lacks of integrity. To take the significance out of integrity is to operate with integrity at the level of oneself. So there's no drama. It's all peace, calmness. Oh, look at that. I failed to make sure that I had a coffee for my partner who was rushing around in the morning. Oh, I'm
Doesn't
going to put that in.
doesn't mean I'm a terrible, horrible person and I should be single for the rest of my life.
Yes, put it in. Go and put the Keurig in. Make your partner a coffee. Here you go, sweetheart. I know you're busy this morning. Oh,
Yeah, I think another
bye.
great example of that is with families where we haven't spoken to someone in a really long time. And we've gone, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
just the way my relationship is with my mom or my brother, and it's never going to change because they're never open to anything else. And then we just kind of canceled out opportunity there.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, well, that's integrity ferreting out the whole thing about, oh, my family never calls me. Oh, I'm just sitting around here. They never check in with me. Well, right there's integrity at the level of lacking at the level of oneself, making someone wrong or judging them for not picking up the phone and calling you.
Yeah.
So to put integrity in would be call them.
Oh, you
Don't
made me think of
wait,
just
call them, check in.
you made me think of one more that actually you taught me years ago. It must have been like 8 years ago or 9 years ago. I remember I was meeting up with you and um, we started talking and I was complaining about the rich people in Vancouver. I think I just saw a Bentley drive by and it had one of those Hermes blankets on the back and the guy had a driver and I was like, freaking rich people, man. They're just like, they don't care. They're all leaning for themselves. It's just like everything's all about them. I just was like complaining. Now, at the same time, you knew I want to be someone who's wealthy. I want to have someone who has freedom and
Yeah.
opportunity. And you said to me in that moment, I'm paraphrasing here, you will never have money if you're judging and making rich people wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because I saw it so clearly. I think you even gave me
Yeah.
another example where I was like blaming my mom. And it was like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said something like the degree of incompletion with your mom will match the degree of incompletion with your partner. And I was like, oh no, I got to call my mom. I got to deal with this freaking thing because I know it's impacting my romantic relationship. That's where we put in the integrity. And then I did that with my mom, and lo and behold, romantic relationship kind of started to sort parts of itself out.
Yeah, I remember that day we were walking through West Point Grey, the wealthiest neighborhood of Vancouver. You were walking me down to the bus. I was going back downtown. We were walking through all these $50 million houses.
Just like, yeah, just are we in envy? Are we in admiration? Are we in jealousy? Are we in inspiration? And this is what gives weight of our opportunities. So I thank you for
Yeah.
that big time. I think
Yeah.
that is another message I want to share to people listening is if you want something, you judging anyone who has that thing is repelling you from it.
Instantly, by the way.
Instantly. Like you want more physical affection and you see someone kissing on a bench at some park and you get annoyed by it, you're pushing physical affection from you. If you want family and you see a happy family smiling with the kid in the stroller and you're like, oh, they probably have it so easy, you are literally digging yourself a hole versus going, oh, that's so cool. I love how that mom just kissed that dad, or I love the smile on that kid's face. I want to be cool when I see that smile on my kid's face. Like now you're into attraction. But what really to me is behind that is letting go of arguing for our limitations.
Oh, love that. Well, that arguing for our limitations lacks integrity at the level of
Yeah.
oneself.
When you're being authentic, you're not doing that. That's not who you are. None of us.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking around, I love, this whole thing around smiling at a baby or smiling at people kissing. That's what we call the state of wonder. That's
Mm-hmm.
the state of wonder is a natural state for us humans.
Right. That's what we
It's
were before we got all the baggage and frustration and trauma and
Mhm.
all that stuff.
Yeah. We grew up as kids in a state of wonder. And, when I used to live on the ocean. We had this beautiful beach in front of our house. We had a beachfront home, and we didn't play pirates. We were pirates. We
Right.
we made our own rafts and sails, and we had our own paddles all made. And the parents, they gave up being worried about us because we were pirates. We knew how to look after ourselves. That was a natural state of wonder that we lived in, and paddled around the bay and had adventures all summer long. That was a natural state of wonder as a child.
What a great state
And I and
to
I
be in.
say that we can bring a natural state of wonder at any time, at any age, because it is part of the integrity of ourself at the level of ourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you're going to the Olympics. I'm stoked for you. The moment you told me you were going to Paris, I was like, oh, I'll bet he's going to basketball. I knew.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to be watching, looking for you in the stands.
Oh my God. I'll be jumping up and down, losing my mind.
Well, that's the natural state of wonder that you're
Yes.
going to. The integrity at the level of yourself. It's so cool, Simon.
And we so easily could have not done it. It so easily could have not happened due to perceived circumstances, like it's not a small investment. Okay, is it, are we open to that given our other expenses in life? Okay, the time involved. Okay, time away from family, managing different things. Like there's lots to manage, but we
Mhm.
start a conversation and then we figure it out. And now there's wonder and thrill and adventure. And what a great way to live that doesn't have to stop after our first traumatic experience as a teenager or kid, like at any
Yeah,
age.
yeah, yeah. Well, and then the other part of this that I hear in this whole world of integrity, which I want to bring forward, is self-expression. What in the world of what matters? And when you were sharing about that, I was present to watching the Olympics with my mom, who's 92 and loves the Olympics. And she could hardly wait to watch breakdancing. And she was, last night we were watching surfing, which was in Tahiti.
Right.
And she
Wow.
wanted to watch women surfing in Tahiti for the Olympics.
Wow.
And we spent half an hour watching this go on. And the whole time it was like, wow, did you see that move? Oh my God. We weren't sitting there going, oh, isn't that lovely? Clap, 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 clap. We weren't doing that. It was like, oh my God, that did you see that turn? Look at the color of the water. Oh my God. That was how we were watching the Olympics together.
Yeah,
Full on. Like we
that's awesome.
were in Tahiti watching the game, watching it.
Yeah,
So, the self-expression that one has is also directly correlate to
yeah,
what level of integrity is a person willing to operate
yeah,
at. So when
for sure.
we operate with radical integrity, what happens is we're fully self-expressed in the world. We have no constraints. Nothing's holding us back. We're going out there living a life full on. We're going to Paris to watch basketball.
Find a way.
We're
Find a way.
finding a way.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We're going to get ourselves there. We're unstoppable. We're going to fulfill on what matters to us. So, and I wanted to tie that in to, because when we operate with integrity, it is insignificant, and we find a way to fulfill on what really is our self-expression. What
And it
is
doesn't mean you
it?
might also be scared and confused and worried and not know how. That's part of it. We're actually looking to embrace
Mhm.
those sensations, not have them be the reason to not try something new.
Yeah, so I'm inviting in this conversation, anyone who's listening, I'm inviting you all to look where your own integrity is lacking and put it in. Because remember, it isn't significant. It's an opportunity to restore it, to put it in, to go and live the life, to go and ask that. When you put your integrity in, go ask that person out for a date that you've had your eye on, that you're like, oh my God, I can't ask that person out. Well, look for where your integrity is lacking, put it in, and then go and ask that person out on a date. Go for it, because it matters to you. Life is short. Go for it.
I wouldn't have met my wife if I didn't go for it when I saw her at a pool party from across the bar. Never would
There
have
you go.
happened. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys just got a taste of Roy's energy and enthusiasm and skill and brilliance. If you're curious about how to work with Roy, I'll let you in on a little link at the bottom of this post, and you'll be able to see the details on how to work with him in our Love of Fear program.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I, I love this conversation, as you all can tell, because it matters to me. It really matters that we become humans that are operate with integrity at the level of ourselves.
I mean, and to finish this off, I mean, what's out of integrity in our work? Well, we want to get to as many people as possible, thousands and millions of
Mhm.
people, you know? And what's out of integrity for us is how we can demonstrate the value of this work to the masses. Because right now we demonstrate it and people experience it on a small percentage. You know, I have hundreds of thousands of people that follow me on social media, but a very, very small percentage of those people, you know, drop their story and actually choose to put themselves in our program. And those people are
Mhm.
extraordinary. And I bet you there's a lot more of you out there who are on the edge, who are considering what's possible for themselves. And we're working in whatever way we can be creative to go, how do we get this message across these people that has them connect to what really matters to them?
Mm.
How do we get to be there to support you with that? And that's where I'm looking at what part of integrity is missing there. How we communicate, what we talk about, who it's for. Like we're always on the lookout for that. Not because anything's wrong, but because
Mm.
it matters to us.
Maybe we should have one of those thousand people Zoom calls, 1,000 person discovery Zoom calls, Simon.
That would be interesting. That
Wouldn't
would
that
be
be
interesting.
fun? Wow.
Yeah, we could try something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. Let's see. Another idea of where it would look like. That's by the way, that's an example, you guys, for us of what's a possibility of putting integrity in.
Hmm. I would love to interact with hundreds of people and take questions and have pop-ins, and oh my God, that would be so exciting to do that.
I guess we know
So exciting.
we're talking. I guess we know we're talking about our next team meeting.
Well, and you know, just the participation on these calls, we can see the numbers, and I love it. I would love to interact and take questions and spend time and do a, you know, for lack of perhaps it's a free coaching session for people and to see this work and for them to interact with us and each other. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as I sure know when we do the group calls, that when people are in our programs, how much I enjoy those
Yeah.
and they enjoy them. And because in my view, anyone that's in this kind of work is extraordinary. You're out to transform your life, let go of ways that no longer serve you, create a life of integrity, one that's full on and joyous and at the Olympic level, like going for it. And you know, there you go. You say the word masses, and I would love to do that.
I'm inspired by every person who's open to it.
Yeah, me too. Me
All right.
too. And I certainly love questions. And we could go on and on and on here.
Yeah, we could. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being open to this kind of personal development, and we're looking forward to seeing how we can be of service to you.
Yes. Thank you for your time. I love you all.
Bye.